Hello? Yes, I I entered from another side. No problem. I will begin the countdown again and we'll start. All right. Hello. I'm very happy today. Welcome a great artist, Kamantha Naidoo. You can call her Cam. How are you, Cam?
Hi, I'm really well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very happy today to welcome you, and it's a pleasure to meet you here on the live. First, I want to know about your interest in the arts and entertainment. How did it start?
How did I start? I think that my interest in entertainment started as a little girl. I mean, a lot of kids will watch
Yes.
TV shows and movies and just get so, mesmerized by the characters they see on TV. And that for sure started for me when I was really young. Remember when I was like maybe 4 or 5 years old, I told my mom, I'm going to be a movie star one day. And I never thought that I
Yes.
would actually pursue that. So it started
Mm-hmm.
really young.
Yes. And tell me, between your childhood and teen, tell me about your trajectory. How did you start to venture into working in film, television, and I see them as well?
Yeah. Honestly, it didn't really start very young. I did do a little bit of drama school when I was in high school, but I
Yes.
I was also very academic. So I didn't pursue the whole entertainment industry professionally until much later on. Also, I come from a traditionally ethnic family, and they really pushed me to pursue an academic path. So I studied psychology
Mm-hmm.
in university.
Really?
I studied education as well. And I actually worked
Mm-hmm.
in those fields for a while before I realized I wasn't truly happy and I wanted to pursue a career in acting. So that all changed around 10 years ago. And so, yeah.
Yes, great. But I want to ask you, when I looked on your filmography, I see that you started by working in several short films, right?
Say that again?
So you started to work in short films.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the a couple of roles you started in the short films, and also how did they polish your acting talent, until you got the later the longer roles.
Yeah, I when I moved to Canada, so I lived in Australia before this. So when I moved to Canada,
Uh-huh.
I definitely wanted to pursue acting or like some sort of a TV role. I thought about maybe TV hosting because I'd done that in Australia. And I didn't really know where to start. And I hadn't professionally trained as an actor before. So I applied to short films, and I think there's a lot of them that you will find if you live in Vancouver or even Toronto. You'll find them on like Facebook groups or, different universities and colleges will have like casting calls for actors. And so I sort of started there. And I think I had a natural knack for picking up on what it takes to do some of these roles. But so some of my earlier roles were fun. They were cute. They're listed on my IMDb. Like I remember playing a student who was going through like some sort of like a situation with her boyfriend. There's a lot of stress involved, and that was a really fun role. But professionally, I felt like I did need to go to some kind of school for extra training. And so even though those short films helped me realize more about the acting world and gave me insight, I still felt like I needed to train. And so I started training. I started training like around 2019. And but before that, I was lucky enough to start acting in different kinds of projects. I think when I first moved here to Canada, the main roles I got cast in were music videos. I did music videos all the time, probably a few times a month. At least, yeah, it was a lot of music videos.
Mhm. Yes, but I see that you when started to move to Canada, you landed several television appearance and also some roles in Hallmark films, right?
Yeah, yeah. And that all started
Yeah.
after I trained professionally and I got a good agent and I started to, take things a little seriously because acting is not just winging it. Acting is so much more than that. And I needed to learn those skills of what it is to be. I mean, naturally, I am a very disciplined person, but you do need to be quite disciplined when you are preparing for a role. You do need to analyze the scripts. You do need to put a lot of work into understanding what it takes. And so, yeah, around 2019 is when I started putting all of what I was learning into practice. And just like that, I was able to start booking these roles in some of these big TV shows that I had only dreamed about, ever being in.
Yes, I see as well that you had very diverse roles. Like you played a reporter, you played a yoga instructor, you played a lawyer starting from 2020 approximately, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think my first big role for me was playing
Mm-hmm.
Kiki in iZombie. That was uh really like that was like a big like woohoo kind of moment, and also just like I think for me as someone, a young person who wanted to be an actor but didn't know if it could actually happen, that role gave me so much joy and so much hope because that's a really big TV show. I had watched it previously, and when I saw the audition, I was I wasn't sure if even, if that was something that matched me and my criteria, but I went ahead, I did the audition, and I was shocked when they said you booked the role.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a day on set, and it really felt right. It really felt right for me to be there, to be on set and to be in this role of being an actor. So that's when it kind of I think truly started, and that would have been around 2019, 20 maybe like 2018. And then after that, from 2020 onwards, it just became my life. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so playing all kinds of different roles from like news reporters to yoga instructor to I played a recruitment officer once, like all kinds of different characters. It's been such a fun ride, and I love the fact that I am able to be a different person every day.
Yes. Yesterday I was looking on your Instagram,
Mhm.
and I think I've seen that you also did some costume design for yourself. It's a hobby as well.
That I've created costumes for myself.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
I read the note. Yeah,
Yeah,
yes. Some
I
of your
actually it's a
suit.
pretty good skill. I sew. I love to create and sew, and if I have an
Mhm,
idea in my head, I will try my best to bring it to life. So, yes, I
mhm,
have created Princess Jasmine, I've created Cinderella, I've, like, actually designed and sewed these outfits before. That is something that I really love doing when I have the time, is to
mhm,
create in different ways, right? Because as a creator, as a creative person, I don't think it's just one mode. I think it can be like many different modes. And so yeah,
mhm.
I love sewing and drawing and writing even.
Yes. Tell me, right now I've seen that you do two roles in Lego Friends. You
Yeah.
play Nova and Aditi, right?
Yes.
So, tell me about this experience about voice acting, and as well, tell me, do fans start to recognize you even if you do the voicing as well?
Oh yes. So I started this desire to pursue voice acting in 2020. I was just I was obsessed with the idea because
Hmm.
I think that I love reading, and I've been told many times you have a great voice for like audiobooks or cartoon characters. And I was like, really? Okay, well let me try this out. And so I started sort of studying what it takes to be a voice actor. I started like learning a bit about it, and then I did the audition for Lego. And then I was surprised because I was super new to this whole industry of voice acting at the time. I had never done anything before. And so then I got a call back. And then I was, told to revise a few notes, do my audition again. And then I was told about a month or a couple months later, you got the role. And that was so exciting for me. I didn't really think that that would happen so quickly, and it did. And then I started to record for Nova. And Nova is this really cool character. She's this girl, this teenage girl with a lot of attitude, and I love her. I think she's kind of like an alter ego of me. She doesn't
Mhm.
really care if people, she doesn't care what people think of her opinion. She's so honest, and she's just so real, and I really love that about her.
Mhm.
So that's Nova, and people love Nova. People find me on Instagram all the time and add
Really?
me,
Mhm.
and yeah, and because they love Nova. So yes, yes, I do get recognized not in person but online as Nova, which is, I think, super cool. I think that's just one of the coolest things ever. Aditi is a British character, and for her, I
Mhm.
portrayed a British accent, which was cool. I mean, I think we all
Yes.
have a bit of a British accent when we're at a party and we like pulling that out. But I sort of
Mm.
did the accent, and they wanted me to play Aditi, and I've done that a few times now. So yeah, I think that's also really
Mhm.
cool.
Yes, I think most of the time you record your characters before they start themselves any kind of animation, right? So you must leave a space for the imagination of what's happening around you, right? For your
Totally.
characters.
Yes. So when
Mm-hmm.
you do voice acting, it's a mix of things. And what I've learned is it can be animatic based, which is you actually see
Mm-hmm.
a rough draft of the cartoon, and you need to match
Yes.
the timing because they've already got an idea of, what the character's doing, where they're going, and how long that's going to take. And so as the actor, you need to kind of go, okay, I need to match my pacing and my timing to match what's happening in the scene. And that's a little bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more of an
Mm-hmm.
advanced skill, or you have to really train yourself to be super disciplined in those moment to moments. And then,
Mm-hmm.
with the episodes that they have written, and they haven't yet decided what's going on visually, maybe they have a concept, the artists have a concept. I think that as in that situation, the actor has more freedom to create their moment to moment, and imagine what's going to happen for my character right now. And that's when we can have a lot more fun. And I really do, and I enjoy both. I just find that when we don't have the animatics, when it's just up to me and my imagination, I get to have a bit more play.
Mm-hmm. You know, I've seen last month a movie you starred in, a horror film called Cryptic was
Oh yeah,
released.
did you watch Cryptic? I haven't even seen Cryptic yet. I keep missing the Vancouver premieres. They've had a few screenings.
Yeah, yeah.
How was it? Tell me.
It was released. I want to ask you about working in horror films. I think it's a different experience. Your character, and where did they shoot the film as well? Because it was very, very, very interesting.
Yeah. I love
Hmm.
working in horror films. Actually, a lot of people don't know this, but horror movies are
Hmm.
my favorite genre of all movies. I
Hmm.
love the thrill of a good horror movie. There's a lot of movies that try to be scary, so I'm always kind of like, try me. So the fact that I now get to act in these movies is just so exciting
Hmm.
for me. Like, it just gives me so much joy. I love the scary moments, the, oh, what's going to happen next. I love all of that. So the my experience of working in horror movies is pure bliss. It's something that I've always dreamed of. So yes, I love it.
Hmm. Where did they shoot Cryptic in Canada or somewhere else?
It was shot in Canada. It was shot on the way to Pemberton. So if you're in BC
Mm-hmm.
and you're driving like towards Whistler, yeah, yeah, and you keep going, it's up in the mountains. I can't remember the exact
Mm-hmm.
location it was, but it was a really, really beautiful area. We were just surrounded by the forest and fresh air, and it
Yes.
was gorgeous.
Yes, yes. It had a European feeling. I thought it was shot in Serbia or Croatia because a
Oh,
lot of horror films they they want to shoot there. So, Cam, I want to ask you about your upcoming roles. I've seen that you have shot several shorts as well, like Falling and Satisfaction Guaranteed. This is correct?
satisfaction guaranteed. I
Mm.
feel like that's from a long time ago. It probably already is
Really?
released. Falling is a movie that my best friend and I co-produced, and it's actually won many awards. It's
Mm-hmm.
screened in Toronto at the Toronto Film
Mm-hmm.
Festival, the South Asian Toronto Film Festival, and it's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's been in a bunch of different film festivals. So it's not technically released to the public, but that movie's been circulating for the past year and a bit, which was a great experience. That was my first ever experience of co producing a project. So actually having a say in what's going on for the characters and to see it all fall into place and being a bigger part of that was super cool. Yeah. Um,
Mm-hmm.
upcoming, I think there's a few like Evergreen hasn't yet been released. There's also I'm trying to think of what's on there that hasn't been released. There's a few. There's a few and it's super exciting. Oh, Your Mine is another horror movie that we filmed in the summer of 2023, I'm pretty sure it was, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a slasher. So
Mm-hmm.
not it's a horror slasher. And
Mm-hmm.
that movie is about a group of South Asian girls who are best friends. And it takes place on Valentine's Day. So stay tuned for that one because that's super cool.
Yes, this is the best timing for slasher films, Valentine Day.
Yeah. It's a good time you would
I've
least.
just I've just seen by the a horror films it was released and got good reviews, and it took place in Valentine's Day. I don't remember the name. We saw it last month. You know, it was a little bit graphic, but it was okay. You know, it was very well written and directed. But anyway, Canada in the 70s and the 80s, they used to produce a lot of horror films,
Mhm.
and taking place sometimes in Valentine. I think one of them was My Bloody Valentine, if you remember this movie, because it was remade again, as far
Oh,
as I
okay.
remember.
I've never heard
Yeah,
of that one. That's probably one that I should look
no,
up. And was it good?
no, no. If you it was if you like the genre, it will be good, because in the 70s there was a wave of horror films in Canada,
Mhm.
and also it was a time when David Cronenberg started to appear on the scene and to direct his films in the late 70s, you
Yeah.
know, and it launches the career of many filmmakers time 70s and the 80s in Canada. It was like a trend. But I want to ask you, Cam, right now, based on your background and the stuff you did, do you have certain dreams that you would like to achieve in the upcoming period, or a dream role, a dream project you like to venture in other thing, maybe performing, singing?
Yes,
Because you appeared in many music videos, so let me know. Tell me.
definitely. What would life be without dreams? I mean, dreams are what keep us going, right? And so even though I feel like
Mhm.
honestly, so much of what I've achieved already has been like my dreams come true, there are still more dreams to achieve. I started directing a couple years ago. So a
Great.
good friend of mine, his name is Hussein. He said, "You have such a great eye for detail, and you're such a woman in charge. You run the show. You need to get into directing." And so, even though I never
Mhm.
really thought about it, he's the one who inspired me to push through and direct projects. And so I've directed a few of his music videos over the past couple
Great.
years. And they're not on my IMDb. I'm wondering, maybe I should add them there, because directing has become a part of my
Sure.
life, and it is a special skill to produce and direct. I know that I have Falling on there, and Hussein's projects. His name is DJ Aslam, and his songs are amazing. And he collaborates with local Canadian artists, and a lot of the time, the songs have a message. So it's my job as the
Hmm.
director to create a visual that will tell a
Yes.
story that is true to what's going
Yes.
on within the song. And that's been a really beautiful experience to bring his songs to life. So I've done that, and I do foresee myself directing more. I would love to write my own script. That's definitely a big dream. I have so many stories to tell, and I'm so passionate
Hmm.
about lessons, life lessons. And I think there's so many life lessons that I would love to share. And if that can be through film, through a form of entertainment, that would just be incredible. What was the second part of your question? I've completely forgotten.
No, I wanted to know if there is a dream role or a dream character you would like to portray.
Yes, dream role. I, aside from being a horror fanatic, I love
Hmm.
vampire movies. So one of my dream
Hmm.
roles is to be a vampire. I think I would kick butt at being a vampire. I love the Twilight series. I love a lot of the different vampire shows. I remember Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like all of these shows,
Sure.
I think
Sure.
are just, they're awesome. Like I would rewatch a lot of it now because I just love the concept and the eeriness of like the vampires, and the fact that they've lived for centuries. I think I would be really great at one of those kind of characters. I also would love to play a woman who is just super powerful, like in a role that's similar to a CEO or a president, a leading woman, a leading character. I haven't like
Hmm.
pinpointed exactly what that looks like, but yes, a woman of power. I think that in this day and age, we need more of those kind of characters on screen.
Hmm.
Um,
Sure.
a role model to young women is a very important part of who I am. So I would love to
Hmm.
have that in my
Yes.
performances and on my resume.
Yes, for sure. Speaking of powerful women in life and also in behind screen, do you like to say like a message for aspiring young actor and actresses who would like to pursue an entertainment career like yours at the end?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that if this industry interests you, first and foremost,
Mm-hmm.
you need to ask yourself why. Because if it's for the fame and for the money, then absolutely do not pursue it. I think that you need to dig deeper, and you need to understand that being an artist is so much more. It's really about expressing yourself and connecting with others and telling a story. So for all of those young people out there who are interested in becoming an actor or an actress, um, figure out why it is that you want to be here in the film and TV world. And then start to write and start to, understand characters when you watch movies and TV, and start to do the homework, because there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes. It's not just glamour. It's not just getting your makeup put on and then knowing a few lines. It's really about understanding yourself, and you really need to be able to go deep. When you see an actor cry on screen, it doesn't just, tears don't just come. They have to come from somewhere within. So I feel like a lot of the work
Hmm.
has to be done within yourself. And so if you're willing to dig
Hmm.
deeper, then absolutely, it's an amazing career once you start to feel comfortable with yourself.
This is great. Cam, Kamantha Naidoo, I want to thank you very much for sharing your experience today with us.
Thank you
It was a
for having
pleasure
me.
talking. And I wish you all the best in your upcoming films that will be released and also on your projects. And I want you to keep up directing, and follow your directing and writing skills. And I hope, next time we have a movie that you wrote and direct, we can talk about.
Oh, 100%. I would love that.
Okay, Cam, I want to thank you again for to the live. It was a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I look forward to hear some good news about your new work.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. It was been an amazing experience talking to you today.
My pleasure as well. Take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Bye.